Okay. Okay, so Tashidelek, everyone. So how do you say Tashidelek in Jewish?
Shalom.
Shalom. Okay. Shalom. I'm so happy to come back to Israel. Beautiful place, good food, and then so many complaints or so many compliments. Everything is there, but the last time I come, I really enjoy, and even though my teachings or lecture or class maybe not very beneficial at that time, but you know, my motivation, it's something that I can see and feel that came when the plane took off from Delhi to Israel. Then my motivation is whatever I will just say to you all, may there's a benefit. So that's how my plane take off, and with my motivation. And so now this also same kind of motivation. I came here from my benefit to enjoy the hummus and the pita. Then the more of the main reason here is to share some kind of the knowledge I normally appreciate and
So, איך אנחנו עם האנגלית? יש כאלה שמוצאים את האנגלית מסובכת. זה בסדר אם רינפוצ'ה ימשיך קצת באנגלית ואז מתישהו נעבור לטיבטית? Yeah, so Rינפוצ'ה so far.
Good, good.
Yeah, so far so.
My English is very simple English, so no worries. So sharing the knowledge that I normally what I practice, which I get it from my teachers, and time to time I always get the opportunity to receive wonderful teachings and advice from His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. And then these kind of things really sometimes helps me if I'm going through some kind of a difficult time. And we all have a good day and bad day. So the good day is to make a good preparation what is coming on the bad day. So then once you feel like prepared, then it's more like let it come. I have a kind of strength to overcome this problem. So this kind of this so-called mind training is really needed each and every corner of the world, and especially like in here is Israel. It is the country is really advanced on technology and education, health, everything so good. Like look at Israel, it's like a pretty kind of desert, but what the people of the Israeli has done so much. And just thinking about the drinking water. I come from Meglotganj, Dharamsala. Many people of you have been there. We have a mountain, snow mountain, behind us. And then we have a very heavy monsoon, but we still have a water problem. You all are here, not much access of water, but you turn something, the seawater into drinking water. Incredible. But still, you all have a problem. Whether you shook your head or not, but there is a problem always. So, as His Holiness Dalai Lama always say, that the problem actually, we always think it is coming from outside, but we always forget to look inside our mind. We are the kind of Buddha himself said that we are our own protector. What this protector should do is, when the problem comes, we need to protect from it. So we are losing this kind of coolness, or we can say awareness. But somehow, many of you have this kind of a seed or some kind of a craving that even you have develop on the material materialism,
yeah, material level.
Material level, very high, but somehow you feel like we need to improve our quality of mind. So that's why we are here, and Dhamma Friends of Israel is giving this floor for us to study together. It happened many times, and I'm looking forward to that a Dhamma friend can go on and invite wonderful teachers, and then you all can study, meditate, and most important, don't let other people tell you that Dharma is so good. There should be one day that you have to feel it, that, oh, even I don't do so practice so hardly, but I can feel there is a solution. Sometimes we feel like this is the only way now. And then you don't need to say, I'm a Buddhist, I do Buddhist practice. You become strong for yourself, and then you go out there, whoever they need your help, starting with your family. And then one day, let your loved one ask you a question. There's a huge change in your life. What is the secret recipe of that? Like our grandma has a secret recipe, And then she will tell you once that person really earned her trust, then you will share it. So same thing. So here I'm today to share a kind of a recipe that I don't know much how to cook it, but I kind of love the style how it is made by Naagarjuna. And then due to the kindness of Dhamma friends, they requested me last time, we did, during the pandemic, we did one online course. What's that? Sutra of the moment of the death. We did that. If Dhamma friend didn't say anything about it, maybe I have never heard of that sutra. And they're so kind. They say, if you can teach them through this text. So then I got to, just like I become quite curious. What is that sutra? And then I looked. I felt like this is so good, and I really need to practice this. So then the course went. It is like I'm giving a class or teaching, but I'm focused towards myself to hold this opportunity, me to learn. You know the secret why I'm trying to do that? Because if Dhamma friends say like, it's so good, you read it, I will not going to read it. If my teachers say it's really good, you read it, I'm not going to do it. I'm so lazy. But now this is a kind of flow that I got a kind of a flow that I can offer some kind of a contribution. And then I'm a little bit smart. I thought like, well, I cannot let this opportunity go because that's like a double benefit. Once also I can benefit them, the people who participate, I can benefit them, and most benefit, I will get it too. So the last time it happened like this, and also this year, when Dhamma friends, last year, isn't it? Last year, this year?
Last year, I think.
Last year, probably. Last year, when they asked me to come here and give a course, and then they brought up this precious teaching by Naagarjuna, Dharma dream tale. And then I never heard of that. And then it's quite a rare this practice, teaching. And then before saying yes or no, whoa.
Sorry. All right.
Okay. So before saying or accepting the request, I looked into this text. And it really kind of, I can say, it took my heart away. It's like I've fallen in love with this. It's hard to say how I've got to fall in love. It's like in a kind of relationship. Like, if I don't get it, I will regret. I need it so badly. And then I looked at it a few times because for a long time I'm researching on the how to generate bodhicitta. And then normally we say two kind of a lineage to generate bodhicitta. One is from the
from the lineage of extensive practice.
And then samuttagyu.
And from the lineage of profound view.
The Jachin Jujugus Labi Nata Dinarone, so the Tiranka Lapsanatir Tirandina the dinner Hebrew Nasungurba. Chesanga Tanda Jachin Juju Narone, so that Chanju Sim Jejo called Sunguyore, Dinarone, and a Chanju Sim Jedan Telia, Junje Menga Dunjukan Sim Jedan Chick. Ani 다신 냠지 주고네 sem 계단 니 송변나로네 아니 지기 겨울음 지기 남셔 준드네 다신 냠지 주고네 아니 sem 계단데 정거를 붙이려 빼데 편부시부지도 송도와 세상가다 딥망체 지기 다신 냠지 주고네 슉잡되지 안 지기 준제 명한 둔기권의 슈 잡단티 또 저기 공다지기 단다 가서 그래 슝가시 가시나는 제주요래 때 이나야 딜이야 믹스에 슈지기 야 도나치 공답 야 디토란 제시에다 초링진이 빼공부시 다 가산 도스지 디제버와 슝 디제버 갑라 디기나로리야 아니 근데 내가 둥기 rimba디 di inda sungumendo de dinaloldo sigi 세부시고 저 통원도 담배 오 나르기 공부루루게 된지기 공부시 아니 냠렌제 된지지 중원도 담배 다딩한란조 디다고제 지단 디를 퇴섬체야 롬예체에 뺏겨와 성부 총송 삼성지 텐체니 다른 kellenche ni kiran zuro she kellen dande wodidirchire
אז רינפוצ'ה המשיך לדבר על התרגול של בודיצ'יטה שמוסבר בדרכים שונות, בשושלות שונות בבודהיזם. אז יש לנו, כשאנחנו מסתכלים על אפשר לומר שני סוגי השיעורים שהבודה לימד, אפשר לסווג אותם כשיעורים ששייכים לשושלת של התרגול הנרחב, העשיר, הנרחב, והשושלת שעוסקת בהשקפה שהיא השקפה מעמיקה. כאשר אנחנו עוסקים בתרגול של בודיצ'יטה, אנחנו רוצים לטפח את הבודיצ'יטה, לכונן את הבודיצ'יטה, והתרגול הזה מוסבר בעריכות בשושלת שעוסקת בתרגול הנרחב. וכאן יש לנו שתי טכניקות עיקריות לטפח את הבודיצ'יטה, לכונן את הבודיצ'יטה. התרגול הראשון נקרא באנגלית The Sevenfold Cause and Effect Personal Instructions, או 7 השלבים של גורם ותוצאה, או גורמים ותוצאה שמובילים לכינון הבודיצ'יטה. והתרגול השני נקרא באנגלית Equalizing and Exchanging Self for Others, או השוואה והחלפה של עצמי באחרים. כבוד הדלאי למה מדגיש בשיעורים שלו, אפשר לומר שרוב האנרגיה או העיסוק הוא בתרגול של השוואה והחלפה של עצמי באחרים. והתרגול הזה הוא מאוד very useful, או מאוד שימושי. אז רוב הפוקוס, רוב העוצמה אפשר לומר, רוב העיסוק הוא בתרגול הזה. יש טקסטים מסוימים שעוסקים בתרגול השני של תהליך של 7 שלבים של גורמים ותוצאה, אבל הטקסטים האלה, למרות שמסבירים את התרגול הזה, במובן מסוים אפשר לומר מתרגלים מגלים פחות עניין בתרגול הזה, פחות עניין. יש פחות שעוסקים בתרגול הזה, שמוליטים בתרגול הזה, יותר, זה פחות נפוץ, יותר rare, יותר נדיר למצוא מתרגלים שמתרגלים את זה. וכאן רינפוצ'ה קושר את התיאור הזה למה שאנחנו מוצאים פה בטקסט, שאנחנו הולכים ללמוד עם רינפוצ'ה בימים הקרובים, Dream Tale, סיפור החלום. הטקסט הזה לא באופן ישיר, אבל באופן די ברור, נראה שהוא מדגיש את התרגול של 7 השלבים. אז הוא קודם כל מסביר את ההשקפה, את דרך המחשבה של נאגארג'ונה, את ההשקפה שלו, את התרגול של נאגארג'ונה, ואנחנו, רינפוצ'ה אומר שהוא הולך ללמד את זה, אנחנו הולכים להקשיב ולהתדיין בנושא הזה, אז אנחנו ברי מזל, very fortunate, שיש לנו את ההזדמנות לעסוק בטקסט שעוסק בתרגול של 7 השלבים.
תודה. Now, why bodhicitta is very important. So, we should ask this question. Sometimes, when I think it's a great advantage like people like you, this will come. Why should I practice Dharma? This is a very healthy question, I say. Because normally, if you tell a Tibetan family to why you are practicing Dharma, and they don't have much, very maybe kind of a good answer to that. But they feel like, yeah, it's necessary, we need to do it. I call it, this is kind of like staying in the environment where they say, every day somebody says, nobody says why, and then it becomes so normal. And then, but it's not that strong. It doesn't bring so much kind of a strength of the practice. But good influence is there, saying like, oh, don't kill the bugs, or don't steal, don't lie, all this sort of things are there, but they accept it before knowing the depth of the bodhicitta, the depth of the practice of the Buddha Dharma. That's why His Holiness recently, when he gave a teaching, and then he started, immediately he started the teaching with saying, bring a quotation of a Buddha saying, me giving a blessing or kind of putting my hands on you, that won't take away your negative actions or emotions or the imprints of that. And having bathing in the river Ganga, it will not take away your kind of imprint of negative actions. Now, what I can do is I will show you the path, and then you investigate it, and then you practice this. This is the way how you get the happiness. So His Holiness says this. Then what I did, I kind of like study that, and I give this kind of teachings and classes. So I was walking in Dharamsala area, and then right after the teaching, I went for the circular position. And then met a few elderly Tibetan men and women. And then the one woman is like, today is special, very special teaching happened. Oh, so fortunate. And then I kind of like in the mood to tease. And then I said, well, what did His Holiness say very special that you're praising him? And then she said, well, whatever the teaching comes from his mouth is very special. And then I got like, well, now I know where he is going with this. And then I was like, is there a specific thing that His Holiness today said it and then maybe you missed it? And then she said, oh, you have a big mouth. maybe you learned something and maybe you put something on note. You say it. So then I brought this quotation that His Holiness said. And then she said, did you say something like this? Well, I didn't heard that. So that's very dangerous in the Tibetan community. That's why I'm saying people like you will not accept it like this. So you will try to investigate. You will think why. So this is so pure, so good to start with. So that's, I call, a great hope is there. And now, if you ask me a question, why bodhicitta is very important, then answer could be my answer will be quite simple. Because compassion is needed. Compassion is the key to answer to the happiness. If you want a happy life, compassion is needed. In English, we say self-compassion. But in Tibetan, we don't have such terminology called self-compassion. We translate that sometimes into the renunciation. But in English, it's kind of a nice word, loving yourself. Be kind to yourself. So, what does that mean, be kind to yourself? So, the answer is like, you need a happiness. If you can give yourself a happiness, proper happiness, then it's, we call champa in Tibetan, it's the kindness. So once you have, His Holiness Dalai Lama said very strongly in a recent teaching of his, saying that compassion is great because compassion is answer to the greatest question. I never heard of this kind of expression. And he said it like in a very normal, very straightforward. He said, people who maybe have like a kind of wanting to get rid of the suffering, but if he does not have an answer to this, then it's just like a question only, no answer there. So once you know a method to overcome the suffering or get rid of the suffering, then you feel like, I can do it. I can deal with it. I can help others. So these are the answer. This is what we really need. Sometimes what our understanding of compassion would be something like, if you see someone in a problem or a difficult situation, you say, I have this pretty feelings towards other people, but what to do? There's like, the world is going crazy these days. We can see there's non-stop war going on. There are so many kinds of crises going all over the world. So sometimes we feel so helpless. What to do? So sometimes maybe you feel helpless because we might not have the answer to that. So the answer should be like, it is a kind of a late, if the whole thing is on a fire and you try to stop it, but it is very necessary to bring the awareness before the fire started, before the next fire started, how to stop this. Then you will feel like, I can do it. There is a way to do it. That is the hope we are looking for. So today I'm not going through the text, because today it's a kind of we are meeting new faces or new friends, and so it is necessary to have a floor to know each other. So that's why the main text I will start tomorrow morning when the sun shines, and then we start. But the real essence of this teaching is to become a kind of to know each other, means like here we talk about the quality of the sentient beings. And then I say, this is a very good question for you. Maybe once you go back, maybe you can think a little bit of this. In here, Naagarjuna will talk the kindness of sentient beings. So great, sentient beings, so great, so great, so great. But then I have this in the mind, saying like, also we've been enemy to each other many times. How many times in the past life we have killed each other, cheated each other. But the great master here, their focus is on a positive level, nothing on a negative. So that means, but our way of spending time, focus, is a little different. Mostly we spend much of time or hours on the negative sides, not much paying attention to the hope or the good qualities. And here comes the antidote called the emptiness. I love emptiness because of emptiness is a kind of a tool that helps you to shift you from that difficult position we are sitting and it can take you from that position to different position, then it will change your point of view, or you can look from the different angle. And then you will see, oh, my focus is not on the negative side. I'm looking from the positive side. Because I need the positive energy, not the negative energy. We say that. So this is very necessary, very necessary. We need to kind of, I'm not saying just completely ignore the negative things, don't just close your eyes and then just say like, I'm only listening and focusing on the good, but also the bad or good. But then when if you wanted to choose something, then you have to choose the positive thing, because we need a positive energy with us. So if you look at the Nagarjuna's way of this writing, maybe most of you did a homework on this. This is so good. So as a class, it is necessary, because you are spending a time and you are spending a money and energy here, so it is really necessary you read this. And so in there, you will just see only the Nagarjuna will not bring up his enemy there, saying that person's been so unkind to me, ungrateful to me. He will never say this. His focus is on the positive side. And then when it comes to the emptiness, then Nagarjuna will focus on so-called enemy, so-called friend, so-called Buddha, so-called Nirvana. It looks like it appears like a truly existence there. But then when we do like research or investigate, there's no inherently existence of one. You cannot find one single atom of proof that it exists from its own. So why this? Why this? So that as I told you before, then you can build something. Then you can, once you have this calm, peaceful mind, and then you can rethink, refresh, and then you can just look at the, there you can see, oh, because he harmed me, I just call him an enemy. If I harm him, he can call me an enemy. But he also did good to me, and that's why I call him my friend. So now with this kind of mind training, you go with your family and then say, yes, I had a difficult time with my partner or with my children, but I can never say they are my enemy. But from the negative side, how maybe they will use harsh words, and maybe there will some kind of misunderstandings. So we can say like, the real enemy is inside the house. But you don't dare to say this, because the root of the compassion, love, is so rooted there. So similarly, then Nāgārdžuna will go through this kind of thing. And then he will teach us how to be strong with family, and each and every time you meet with any kind of people in this world, how to react with them, how to respect them, he will teach this. So I call this is a great teaching. There are some parts, it sounds more like people who has a faith in past and future life. This is more something to do with Tibetan Buddhism way of belief or something. But the general idea of, as I said, how are you going to deal with the issues that we have in front of us, and that some kind of techniques are really needed to bring it down in our practice. And even it comes from Nāgārdžuna, then or Buddha, you don't need to have a kind of a faith in them. It's like you have your own kind of intelligence. If somebody is saying really good, then you can say like, I love this idea. And then if it doesn't make much sense, then you can just feel like, well, it sounds good, but I don't know whether I can achieve this kind of thing, whether this is really helpful or not. Buddha said, this I am not making up, because Buddha himself said to his students, proudly, he said, if you have visited Dharamsala, His Holiness Temple, so there's a Buddha statue, and at the right side of the Buddha statue, there is the quotation of Buddha saying, "O Bhikshu, my students, as a goldsmith checks how he checks the gold, cutting and rubbing and I don't know
melting.
what, melting and everything, how they check the gold. I also request you to check my words very carefully. Don't accept my words because not because I'm a great person. That is the, I call, something Buddha said it very proudly, and His Holiness is so fond of this. And then this is how His Holiness always say that almost now 40 years he's been having a dialogue with scientists. At the beginning there is a little bit of problem because of there are some elderly senior monks that complains to His Holiness that, well, scientists does not believe in religion, and somehow they sometimes it's known as the killer of religion. So it is not a good idea to make a kind of a dialogue with them. And then His Holiness looked at them and then said, well, the kind Buddha himself said, make the investigation. So now I have this kind of a confidence. And we should really meet the intelligent people of this world, and then we can work together. And then now recent years, His Holiness will always tease us actually, he will say, well, now scientists cannot kill the religion very easily, but sometimes we brought lots of kind of a contradiction in the science through the intelligence mind of the how we debate, how we investigate. So many scientists are like thinking like, well, this way of investigation you do in a debate courtyard, this way of technique is really needed for us to study too. They said it to His Holiness. So it's, it's kind of like a football team. There's like one goal from scientists, one goal from Buddhism. It's going like this. So, it's, as Buddha said, make the investigation. So it is really necessary that most of us love to do meditation. And meditation is really needed, because I don't know why you like meditation, but for me the meditation is necessary because there are so many wonderful things for past almost now 25 years I've been practicing, but then I felt like these and these things are really needed. I feel like without this, I will fail again and again in my life. But I cannot just be strong like continuously because of my old habits, because of the distractions. So then, when meditation is, when we talk about meditation, it's more known as single-pointed meditation, shamatha. I know most of you tried shamatha. And how long you can stay? Let's say 15 minutes. Go up or down? Go down, okay. So like 5 minutes. 5 minutes good? Okay, so 5 minutes. So same story, because one great master said, how much the strength of the shamatha, the clarity, when we talk about the single point of meditation, and the clarity should be also very strongly there, needs to be there. When I talk about the clarity, it means like if you are meditating on the object of the Buddha statue, and then you feel like, I'm going to meditate on this Buddha statue as long as I want. You maybe close your eyes, or sometimes you don't close your eyes and you just try to stare at it. It's not a meditation, because the object, what we have object of the meditation should be in your mind, not outside of the mind. So when it's so difficult to bring in this image, because it's difficult, but not that difficult. I have a very good kind of example why it's not that difficult. Are you ready to hear about this? Because we already have a practice called attachment. So attachment, when if somebody says like, I wanted to have a practice of attachment, I'm going to fall in love with you, I can do that. For in order to have this kind of meditation that we normally have, biologically we have this. So how this happens is, it comes with the information, saying like, oh, so good, this is so really nice. Like Apple company doing the business. Why they are making so much kind of advertisement, and how they say it. They are so professional, like, and also Samsung and so many. So more information you added in there into this practice, then there would be a day that you can say, it's enough now, I can focus it. I don't need anything else. I really need this one. So similarly, this great master said, like the attachment and the anger is the one of the perfect example for us that when we are so focused, anything around you, it's happening, you won't pay any attention. You are so fixed here. So without any information, how are you going to become angry? Without any information, how are you going to bring the attachment? So like this, we need, before going into the single point of meditation, we need to have some clarity or the information of the object that which we are going to meditate on. So now for 2 days, we are going to talk about bodhicitta. So now we can, normally some masters say, the practitioner who, especially people who are doing shamatha kind of a practice, shouldn't change the object, the focus object of focal object of meditation. You shouldn't change much. So you should stay fixed. So whatever you are meditating on, but as an information, this is so good. So if you can bring this information and then put it to like what kind of your teacher, your parents, or I don't know, whoever you want to put it there. Like if you put like a Buddha's object as the focal object, then look at this dream tale, how Naagarjuna brings Buddha as his meditation object. It's so good, because he says, I did kind of investigation on the sentient beings, how they're so kind, and whenever I am there, some people are so kind, some people like this, that, but every time I can see some kind of a kindness in them. And then he kind of says, these practices done by Buddha himself and given this to us. So Buddha helped. Buddha went through this kind of a practice, and Buddha taught and gave this kind of teaching to us. So I'm so grateful to the Buddha. So this is how he makes the Buddha very strong. That's what I like about Nagarjuna. Not going to say, oh, Buddha is really important, he is the omniscient one, you should believe him. Not like this. First, he gives all the reasons. He makes kind of a connection of what you are doing and where it comes from and why this is so necessary. And all this comes from the teaching of the Buddha. So then we can say this kind of faith, this kind of love towards Buddha is without an attachment. Because you have a good reason, enough reason to support your point why you respect Buddha. So we will talk more about this tomorrow. So most of, and is there any new to the Buddhism that, or most of you already one? There's 1, 2. Okay. Yay, no way. That's a 2, 3. Okay, great. So a tip for you too. Don't become Buddhist immediately. First, please take the baby step. Give yourself a time. Don't let other people brainwash you. There are so many things, as I said before, that why I should practice this. And then if you could say, it's so necessary, it's so needed, that's why I'm practicing this. This is good enough. You don't need to say, I'm a Buddhist. I'm following this path. Because these days, many people get kind of freak out when they say, I'm following this religion. And because people are losing mind these days, like many, like especially in this country here, Jewish. And now it's hard to get a good practitioner sometimes, to be honest. And then if you kind of convert there and here and then looking for, so that sometimes it brings kind of a tension in the family. So as I said before, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes if I'm in a mood to practice, then I will just wake up and then say, why should I meditate? Why should I take a refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha? And am I doing it because I need to do it? I must do it? And then it's pressure. There's no joy. Then I try to find, just in the laying in the bed, I will just try to think like, okay, this is enough reason to stand up and do the prostration. Then I wake up and make a prostration to Buddha, and then I feel so lucky and so fortunate to practice this. So sometimes I didn't get it, then I go back to sleep. Not a good practitioner, but it's healthy. It's healthy for me. Because I have seen so many things in my life. Now, I'm in my 40s, actually 39. So not yet 40. So the rest of my life, I met so many people, and I come from a background of people who call practitioners. And then sometimes I don't get kind of a good influence. Maybe I'm not getting it right, but somehow I don't get this right answer from the practitioners. So then I felt like I need to practice, but not like that. I wanted to have the right idea. And then I tried to check with my teachers, and then this is as I shared with you, that's with you two, because you two are the new to the this path. So then when I meet my teachers and I have these questions, I wanted to do this, but I don't see some connection. I don't feel this is kind of the right way, because it's not benefiting for me. And then how to think about this. So then, according to this, I find my teachers. And then to talk with them. And I sometimes say to some close friends that first you need to find a good friend in your teacher. And then once you see this friend is something like, oh, he can help me so much, then according to this, then you will put one more gear and then one more step ahead. That like, he has this particularly quality that I am really looking for. And then just staying with him, I will get immense benefit. And then this great master in Tibet, Tongme, in his the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, he gave the definition of good friend, or the teacher, the spiritual friend. And he said, without making any effort, he said it, without making any effort, you just stay with him, and all the qualities are somehow it is effortlessly it's coming to you. Then he is your spiritual friend. That's what he said. How lovely that is. And then slowly you find some kind of a hint or some kind of sign of bodhicitta in him. Then you look for bodhicitta. Then you have, at that time, you have to see him as a bodhisattva. And sometimes you see him as a Buddha, or so on. But some people don't get this kind of idea, but then they automatically go to the teaching and receive the kind of initiations. And I have so many friends in a difficult situation. Like, I took this, and then there's so much commitments, and then so on and so on. Now I don't know what to do. It's difficult. So, most of you already now, I don't need to say this because you already studied, you know. But for few of you here are kind of new, so I'm sharing this. Maybe people maybe already are a practitioner. Maybe this kind of what I just said could be helpful. So please keep this in your mind. And 20 more minutes I need to push. Kill the time. So whatever kind of practice you do, no doubt, you really need to enjoy that. And that is something we say, when I say enjoy that, it doesn't mean like the ordinary the way that we enjoy. It's the enjoyment that you feel like these and these things is really necessary for me. When you see this, then automatically you feel this is, I need it. Then there are so many kind of procedures, steps. Then you need to find, I can sense, I can feel this and this can get me towards this. But I don't have any hint, and my teacher doesn't give me any kind of hint where this is going or leading towards. But unless I don't get it, I'm not going to buy it. This is good. This is called investigation. So, and then this is not only like people like us, so many great masters also went through this kind of investigation. And then maybe most of you heard of the four schools, and especially the four tenets.
The four tenets.
Tenets. Why it's there? Why Buddha make this complicated towards us? For me, it's really hard to explain the four tenets. Very, what we call it, step by step. But it's Buddha said it's so necessary. And then he gave a kind of answer to that, why there are four, not five. Because if this four tenets system is practiced very well by one individually, and then he will know which kind of antidote, which is the emptiness, is so suitable for that person. Maybe we talk a little bit more in our coming class. Most importantly, when you go back to your room, please spend a few time with the Naagarjuna and go through the verse. And it is not necessary to understand by word. Even I don't know how to explain it word by word. And we haven't found the commentary on this yet. So don't expect too much. But whatever you like, there's something, I'm 100% sure, there's some kind of verse that can, when you read it, you feel like, this sounds so good. And this is the kind of a hint. This is kind of you found the key. Now you really need to unlock. Like Mlmd said in one of his sort of poems, spiritual songs. Many masters, the great masters, we say there are so many kind of Buddhas who will help me to go on the path. But the real Buddha really helped me is the inside of me, which I believed to the having the faith in law of causality. And then thinking about this, it really moved me to this position where he is standing now. That's what he said. So if you read any kind of great masters, there is some kind of particularly kind of a way how they get into practice. So like it is not only for the great masters, for all of us. Some are like here, like, I really want to practice. But some came like, well, there's something happening. Should I go? Then maybe say, no, you go. Maybe one said, I wanted to go, but it's so good, maybe you should try. So she or he is there. Or something happens. We don't know why this kind of, sometimes we call it, what a coincidence. Something without any kind of causes and condition, it comes like this. But we don't see this kind of how the kind of the flow of this connection happens. But now you are already here. You are in this circle. And now we are going to talk about bringing peace into the world. It's not like we found the peace and we will just go out and sell the peace to others. It's more like you find the peace in yourself. And then you can go out there and you can make other people strong. And the best example is yourself. Many people, what they do is they go to the centers, teachings, and do practice. Even they do 6-7 year retreats, come out, and then they will be same actually, sometimes worse. And that's not a really good message. Because I have a friend, his father is a kind of before I used to say, a great practitioner. Because he wakes up very, very early in the morning, around like 4 o'clock. And then it's very uncomfortable for me because I'm a respect person in their home. Like they will show me like the real Buddha is here or something. They will give me the special room, and then a special bed, and then nobody can sleep, only me, and I have my private bathroom. And then I will just wake up around 7 o'clock, but he wakes up at 4 o'clock. He's my friend's father, and he has a very deep voice, just go like doing these commitments and sadhanas, just it's so powerful. And I feel sometimes very ashamed. And 1 or 2 days, then I become like a rock. Oh, whatever he do, let him do, I don't care. So a few years later, what happened, he really wanted his children to practice, study Buddhism. And he is giving kind of a hint to me to tell his kid to study. And then I pretend like I don't know. And then his two son and 3 daughters sat on the around the table and then start having a breakfast. And then that day, because I'm already there, and they came like 30 minutes late, having a late night party. One boy is still like having a hangover. And then he's a very dominant person. And then the father looked at his son and said, well, Rinpoche is here. It's a really good opportunity to practice Dharma. He showed his face. Then the person who is, the son who is still in hangover, looked in his father and said, you've been doing so much practice. Tell me what's the benefit of doing the Dharma practice. And it is like landlubber. It's the
like a revenge, or it was talking back to his
talking straight back to it hurt his ego, the father. And then he said like, the father looked at me, and I pretend like I didn't see anything. And then father starts scolding his child, said, well, I told you this is a good opportunity, and my duty is to tell you this. If you don't show any interest, maybe you don't want to do it, then don't do it. That's it. That was the full stop. And then later, after 2 days later, one of their sons came to see me and said, I have a question for you. And I was so happy that one son is interested. And then I was so ready to receive his question. And then he said, well, my father is doing some kind of a practice that makes our family life very, very complicated. So I was like, well, go on, what's really happening? And then he said, he does this practice early in the morning, and then he will sit in the shrine room until like 10:30. He will do lots of kind of readings and commitments and kind of meditation. Each and every day, he becomes more angry, more angry. And I couldn't say like directly that his father is doing something wrong, because I don't want to get into this kind of trap. So then one day when I was giving a talk to the family, and then I said that the practice if you're not really enjoying this, you should stop it. And then ask the question, is this really helping me or not? If this is not really helping me, then you should ask two questions. One question should be, maybe I'm taking this a wrong way. Maybe I'm not getting it. Or one thing, you can also think, maybe there's something wrong with the text. Only those two. So start investigating this. So I couldn't change the father, but actually I'm quite successful changing, kind of bringing improvement in his son who asked this question. And now what? His son is giving kind of a solid teaching to his father, and now his father sees some big changes in his. But the funny thing is, he's not going to give any credit to his son, because still the ego is there. But it doesn't matter. But he's much more calmer, and he listens to the problem of the situation, what is happening in the family, and he smiles more. And before he used to be super rich, now he's not that rich. And he's in now his 70s. He's very calm. Like, there's no kind of king in this world like always sit very rich. And they need to come down and then go up. This is the way how the life is. So he is fitting into this kind of reality. So now not being like a super rich as before, but he is really adjusting into the reality. So the huge benefit is he can see in himself. So that's the something that I wanted to share with you all. So if you start doing a practice which you like it very much, and then you will know what you're doing, where you are getting to, all this. So now you don't kind of need some kind of like there won't be not much of confusion. Otherwise, like as I talked with some people, like even you study a lot, but you didn't enjoy your studies much, and forget about the practice, and then during the time of the retreat, it's like you just count. I did 100,000 prostrations in front of Buddha. So first maybe 2 weeks, body strength, mind strength, both are there. Then body strength is good, mind strength goes down. And then what happens is, when I will finish, so that really comes. And next to my place, there's one monk, very, very, very nice monk. He's doing the prostration, and he's doing like 1,500 only. And then this is the limit. He does not go up and down. This is what he enjoys the most. And then he does his meditation, and he reads, and then he tries to think and smile, and so nice. And I am, the next, his friend is me. I am doing like 3,500 processions a day because so rush. I wanted to do it, so I wanted to finish it. So actually, I can say I didn't enjoy it as that person enjoyed his practice. So then he became like a kind of my indirect kind of a teacher to set an example. Next time, if I do a procession, I wish I can do like him. So this, we really need to keep in our mind. That goes all to the point, whatever you do, are you really enjoying it? And what does it mean enjoying? So, today we stop here. It's 9 and plus 1 minute. And tomorrow is, oh, you all have the schedule, you know the schedule, right? So the class, my class will be from
Yeah, 9:15.
Okay, 9:15. Okay. So I will see you at 9:15 then. Okay. So in order to enjoy our class, the tip will be, please do your homework. Get a little bit familiar with what we are going to talk about. Because this is my experience. Sometimes I go to my class to receive teachings from a teacher, and if I didn't do my homework, and I'm there, and then my teacher will just go on talking, and I go like, oh, what is he talking about? But then when I did my kind of work, homework, and then he started talking, I go like, yeah, I know what he's talking, but I don't see kind of a link between this. Then I go with, raise my hand, and my teacher likes it. And like, haha, somebody did his homework. So same thing, right? So please do little homework for me, and I will do my homework. And let's meet here for tomorrow to discuss about bodhicitta, and also known as compassion. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night.